Whoa, I'm Barry Funkhauser. This is the Barry Funkhauser Show. Here's what's going on the last day of the month and a Friday. Well, fake job listings are a growing problem in the labor market. LA Mayor Karen Bass announces Skid Row housing preservation and rehabilitation plans. And baseball returns. As always, I'm here with my co-host and general know-it-all, current events guy, Joe. George!
Hi, just Joe here. That's right, just Joe. How you doing, Barry?
Are you a baseball? I think we talked about this before, but you're a Dodger fan that lived in Orange County.
I grew up in Orange County as a Dodger fan, yeah.
You excited for this thing going down?
Okay, so baseball is returning. I'm not so much into it. I had a streak where I went to, 15 Dodger opening days in a row at the stadium. Maybe it was only 10. It was a pretty solid streak though. But I haven't done it in a while. Things kind of changed over there as far as like what you can do for tailgating and wear and stuff. But man, we would always go to Elysian Park and have just like the best barbecue with like thousands of other people. It was such a good time. But I'm not sure. Baseball now is a little weird because of the new rules, and we'll talk about that later in the program.
Yeah. You know, for me, baseball season is kind of like the beginning of spring and summer, and therefore it's the perfect time to plant seeds. So I spent the day yesterday planting, probably too early, on pumpkin and watermelon, but I got them suckers going down. And my tomato seeds are just starting to pop out. I got bird problems. You know, they fly in and
problems,
eat
yeah.
it.
Birds and squirrels, man. That's the problems that we have.
Yeah, but things are growing along good. I always take baseball season as the time to plant seeds.
Well, it is a good start for you. So hopefully your growing season is much better than this year's baseball season will be.
I wish I knew a fancy foreign word for like good luck during the crop or good crop luck.
Oh, interesting. Like
There's probably some word.
How do you do
How do you
that?
say
How
good
do you
luck in the garden in, like, I don't know, Talang? Isn't that
tag along, you mean?
yeah, tag along.
Jeez, man. How do you wish a farmer good luck?
Ooh, thank you.
Farmer good
Who
luck.
needs AI?
We have these things called iPhones.
Who
Good.
needs Bard when you've got Joe? Who needs AI?
Hey, well, hey, there's a whole push right now about outlawing AI. Did you see? Like some countries have actually done it.
Everybody's freaked out. I love it.
I know. Oh, here we go. Nah, I don't know. There's some quotes here for farmers, but how do you congratulate a
There's
farmer?
not like one word. I wish there was.
I know. I wish
Find
there
it.
was just like one word to like say, like chutzpah or whatever. I don't
We
know.
should have
Anyway.
Wayne the dog man, our garden friend, on. I bet you he knows.
Either that or he can create a word for
You
us.
know he
That would
will.
probably work out too.
You know, that'll happen. It'll probably have to be bleeped.
Knowing Wayne, it absolutely will be.
All right, let's get into the news today. Immediately going to piss you off, Joe.
Oh, great.
Fake job listings are a growing problem in the labor market.
So this is something that's been building for a while, but it's really been turbocharged by the pandemic and the rise of remote work. As we know, it's become much cheaper and much easier to list a job. Back when the government started tracking it, you had to go down to your local newspaper, maybe make a classified ad. There was a lot of hassle. And now, as we know, there's so many job listing sites. They're cheap, they're free. And lots of companies are covering their bases. And then I've spoken with an economist who says that remote work actually made this problem so much more because companies are suddenly realizing they have a whole country of potential job candidates and they want their job posted everywhere. So they'll list a job in New York, in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in Dallas. You think there's 5 job openings, but it's really just the one.
See, that's interesting because in many ways what your article gets to is the politics of companies listing certain jobs, right? So we ask ourselves, why would a company post a job that doesn't really exist? You found there are a number of reasons.
There are so many, and sometimes it is this sort of inadvertent duplication, or somebody called it the intensity of recruiting. Sometimes it's a little more deliberate. There was a survey from Clarify Capital late last year that asked hiring managers why they had job openings, open for 30, 60, 90 days. And some of them said reasons like, well, we're always interested in maybe meeting people. And some of them said, I think about a third of them said it's to placate overworked employees who are asking for more hires.
Wow.
And then when you're talking about a large company, there can often be this sort of communication breakdown. For instance, they may have listed a bunch of jobs and then plans changed, the budgets got cut, and then that doesn't actually trickle down to the person in charge of the job opening. So that listing just stays up and doesn't get filled.
Wow, this is fascinating, especially because if you're looking for a job, it's already so difficult. You're putting yourself out there, and then to find out that some of these listings aren't even real. If you're out there listening to us right now, how do you figure out whether it's worth applying to a job, whether this is a ghost job or something that could actually lead to employment?
It's not foolproof, but there's definitely some things you can do. If you check that a job listing is recent, it's much less likely to be sort of leftover from before budget cuts. People have said that specifics, for instance, if the job lists specific hours, specific duties, and is less of a general sounding listing, it's more likely that somebody actually put some thought into it and that is a real job that they need done. And then honestly, recruiters say try to get in touch with the hiring manager. If say it's an engineering job, find the VP of engineering, find them on LinkedIn, and just drop them a note. Hey, I saw this listing. Are you really hiring? Most will not get back to you, but some will. And then that'll give you a better sense of.
And just in our last few seconds, doesn't the Fed look at these stats and numbers, though, in making determinations about what to do with interest rates?
That's what Powell says. That's a stat that he really loves.
You know what?
Yeah.
Listening to this tells me that this person who is the quote unquote expert hasn't actually looked for a job in years, because she
Why is that?
Way off.
Explain.
Way off. One, contact the hiring manager. Really? Those VPs aren't going to give you the time of day literally ever.
Well, she said that. Most of the time they won't even respond.
It said, but that's a waste of your own time. The other thing that she didn't say is aggregators like Indeed or LinkedIn or whatever, you should not be applying for jobs through those platforms. They don't guarantee that they send your resume to the job. It's in the fine print. They can just keep your information or keep the jobs that you apply for in their database without actually sending you over. Use those aggregators to find the jobs that you want. Then go specifically to the company website to see if that job is actually still listed and apply directly with the company. Do not use a third party to apply to a job. Apply directly. You are almost guaranteed then that someone at that company will actually see that email. Also, the other thing is when you go to a company website, they are probably going to be much more diligent about listing only relevant and actual jobs and not have these ghost jobs around. So when these companies have people on that quote to be excellent, can you actually make sure that they have experience in this? Because this woman, I'm listening to this woman, I'm like, you haven't applied for a job in years. I can tell. I could just tell by listening to the advice you're giving. You're out of date. Oh. You're out of date. So yeah, apply on company websites. Don't worry. The ghost listings and all this other bullshit. Yeah, that's fine. But who cares? That stuff like that doesn't matter. It's kind of it sucks if you have to apply multiple times for all these other jobs. But that's not what you should be worrying about, guys. What you should be worrying about is the fraud that is happening in job listings, not these ghost listings and all this other bullshit.
Oh, here you go with the what about. Here
you need to. What do you mean the what about?
What about this? Here's the pivot. Don't worry
There's
about
no
this. The other
pivot.
thing.
It's not really a pivot. It's like there's
Talk
a
about
more
fraud now.
because there is a more important thing that people need to worry about. People put up job listings trying to get personal information from you, or they try to scam you somehow. I actually got involved in this a few years back. There was a listing for what I thought was a great job at EA down in Santa Monica, right? And so this person is like putting up all this information as they are an EA recruiter. And so I kind of like jumped on it and like I was interacting with this person. Um and very early on it was clear to me that this was a scam because they started asking me for things that no recruiter's ever going to ask you for. And they actually wanted me to pay some money to get equipment and things. And that's like a huge red flag. No company is ever going to make you pay to get their company computer or a company cell phone or any kind of company information. Those are the ones that you need to be more careful about, not these ghost ones that don't ever interact with you, but the ones who interact with you so quickly and just offer you a job without any real interviews or running through any kind of ringer or anything like that. Those are the ones you need to worry about. Don't worry about these other stuff. If you want to find a job, use Indeed. You find the job you want. You go to the company website and you apply directly with them. That's how you get past all that other stuff.
Okay. Good to know. I take it you've had some experience in this recently.
I've applied for literally thousands
You're more of an expert than the
of jobs in the past 6 years. Thousands of jobs.
Yeah.
I have gotten less than 20 responses. Over 1,000 job listings.
What's that?
I've gotten like
0.5%.
It's like less than 1%. It's stupid,
good luck.
but that's jobs now. It's everything is focused on giving the employer more power and making it harder for the employee to find a good match. It just sucks. Like our job, the way we find jobs in this country and just in the world in general is just kind of broken. It needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I'm agree with you, Joe, on that one. All right.
Wow, you agree with me?
Yeah, well,
it's very rare. Every now and then you agree with me, and it's
so often.
so rare. Every so often. Most of the time you're like,
must be a Friday and the end of the month.
Must be.
All right, more news. LA Mayor Karen Bass announces Skid Row housing preservation and rehabilitation plans. She's going to fix it up. Listen.
LA Mayor Karen Bass held a news conference with an update on the Skid Row Housing Trust. Mayor Bass announcing the trust will be placed under new leadership with LA City Attorney Heidi Feldstein Soto at the helm and with a new legal strategy that went into effect today. Mayor Bass says the changes will stabilize the situation, move properties into the control of entities capable of operating them in the long term, and identify potential city funds to rehabilitate buildings.
We approach this crisis from the stance that failure is not an option. Losing nearly 2,000 units of housing would be devastating to Skid Row.
This, to me, is the saving of what was once a paragon for housing and sheltering the most vulnerable and homeless people.
The aim of the Skid Row Housing Trust is to revive aging downtown real estate as homeless housing.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, and I know you will, because I think I'm wrong. I'm half right. So there was this group of people that were in charge of the rehab project, and now I think the mayor has had enough time behind the helm to realize that they are not doing what her vision is. So now she's put more different people in charge of this project in hopes to streamline all of these buildings that are now like they look like crap. They're boarded up on Skid Row. She's going to make it like homeless rehab housing. Am I right on that?
I believe so. Yes. What they first need to do is they need to change some of the zoning laws in the city and the county so they can actually do that. Then they need to find the funds, and they need to get the funds from I don't think they can use it from the general city account. I think it has to be like specifically allocated for it, but then they have to buy the properties and they have to rehab the properties before they can move everybody in. It's expensive, but it's going to be way less expensive to do that now than it is than the money that we spend just keeping people out on the street and like the issues that entails, because it's like when you have homeless people out on the street, it makes everybody's lives worse. Like not just the homeless people, but the people that live in the community, and just the city in general. It's not good. We don't want those people on the street because they have, increasing health problems, and then that's more expensive for the city to deal with. So instead of preventative medicine, we're spending like 4 times as much on emergency medicine and medical care, stuff like that. So you got to get the ball rolling, and it's going to take a long time, but it's nice to see it starting.
I mean, Joe, can you imagine how hard this fight is for the new mayor and how many times she gets red tape and no, we can't do that, and
the NIMBYism in most.
I'm just talking about internally. I mean, everybody's looking in the wrong place here. I don't think it's more NIMBY as it is just like the economical run of the city and how people are like, well, no, that's not possible. And she's like, well, make it possible. Like it's just like building a road in the forest, it seems like, to try to fix the housing. If she's got this good idea, everybody's got to go with her on it,
Well, so one of the issues is the economic and the budgetary issues, right? Because it's cheaper to just address the symptoms. But the symptoms don't solve the underlying problems of, income inequality or mental health care or those types of things, right? So, then you're just shuttling homeless people back and forth in different cities or kicking them out or whatever. But like I said, it's cheaper to do that than it is to invest the amount of money necessary to work and fix the underlying issues. In the long term, it's way cheaper to do that, but humans don't have great long-term planning skills, and then you got the fights in the city hall about like, well, is this $100 million going to be worth it in 10 years? Blah, 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 blah. And then you have fights and, oh, this $100 million coming out, that makes everything tight. Can't we just spend 10 million to just keep doing the status quo and what we're doing? Now, I think that we need to, and I think Karen Bass is gonna make the right strides. The problem comes in that it's going to be painful for people. We're gonna have some tax increases. We're gonna have a lot of back and forth in the legislature and the red tape and the city council and things like that. We got to get past all that stuff. And we got to take a little bit of pain now to decrease the painful monetary financial issues that not addressing it now will mean in the future. So, and that's always a hard one to do. But the NIMBYism does come into play because, you gotta help out poor people and homeless people, and you can't just like throw them all into like Skid Row and just keep them all there. You gotta have like low income housing in all of the neighborhoods in the city, and you got to distribute people around. But like in my neighborhood in Sherman Oaks, people have been fighting low income housing in Sherman Oaks for years because of NIMBYism. They're just like, go put it in Glendale or something. And it's like, well, we want to put it in Glendale too, but we got to put it in every neighborhood, and it's like, it's tough. It's tough because taxpayers or homeowners are like, well, you put this there and then like my property value is going to decrease. They always say that. It never decreases. It's Los Angeles. Property values just only increase here. So it's going to be a problem, but I wish her the best. This is a tough nut to crack.
Best of luck. All right, more news. In my best Vin Scully impersonation, it's time for Dodger baseball.
It's time for Dodger baseball. You got to be a
Mine was
little bit
better.
more enthusiastic.
Mine was better.
Welcome, folks. Welcome back to Dodger Stadium. Whenever you're ready, make your way to any open gate 1 through 7.
They've waited all season for this day. Excited Dodger fans checked their bags, then took their seats for opening day against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Terry Stace and her family were among the many fans who arrived early, hoping the weather wouldn't dampen the vibe.
We're super excited. The rain wasn't going to stop us. We were a little concerned driving here, kept checking the weather, but, we're here.
It's my first time being here at opening day, and I'm really grateful and excited to be here to watch the game today.
A mural honoring 6-time All-Star pitcher Fernando Valenzuela greeted visitors. His jersey also retired Thursday evening as a tribute. Opening day came with noticeable differences, including new merchandise. The team partnering with celebrity artist Mr. Cartoon for these jerseys. New stadium lighting and other upgrades welcomed fans. And of course, new team members.
I think the young guys are going to get it done. We're going to still do good. My favorite player is Mookie Betts.
Just the environment, the crowds, just learning more about it as we're here. Go Dodgers!
Woo! Fans say while last season was exciting, they hope this one tops that.
I think it's just American pastime. Everyone loves baseball. It's a classic game.
The team also honored the late Dodgers announcer Vin Scully. This was the team's first opening day since he passed last year. Reporting at Dodger Stadium, Candace Crone, KCAL News.
It's time for Dodger baseball. I'm excited myself. I really want to take that gondola that hasn't opened up yet, but they had like a model of it in the entrance place to show you what it's going to be like. You can take a look at it. You know about
that one's going to be cool. That goes from Union Station up to the park, right?
Yeah, it's good for everybody except those that live underneath it that are going to have their privacy just ripped from them.
I don't think it goes over apartment complexes.
It goes over somebody. I remember
I don't think so.
That right.
Hold on, let me hold on.
There's some problem, and I actually understand the NIMBYism of this. Like, how'd you like a gondola to go over your house? It's like, hi, everybody. I would sunbathe in the nude every day if that be the case.
Let's see. Do you remember? Because does it go from Union Station up?
I don't know. They finalized the route yet because of this. They can't find a straight shot.
I think they're gonna try to do it from Los Angeles State Historic Park and then over St. Bridget Chinese Catholic Church and school, St. Peter's Italian Catholic Church. There's like churches and like a football field there. It might go over that. That's where Cathedral is. Yeah. Right? Yeah, Cathedral High School. You don't know Cathedral High School?
I always get lost around there.
It's gonna go over the 110 freeway. I think that would be really cool. The flyaway, the bus from Union Station was always nice. They just want to try to reduce some of the traffic congestion because it gets packed trying to get in and out of the game.
That's why I want to do it. I'm very excited.
I think it'd be, that would be fun. It's always a good time. Like
a way to take public transport the whole time.
Yeah,
the whole way.
One of the things that I loved, it was always just like back in the day. Tickets are a little expensive now, but back in the day, it was always fun. Like after work, I just bust over to the stadium, get a $5 top deck seat on a real hot summer night, and just chill, watch the Dodgers, listen to Vin on the radio while I'm watching the game.
$5.
Oh man. That wasn't even the cheapest. I started going to Dodger games in 1999 when I moved back from Santa Barbara to Los Angeles. Top deck seats were $2 or $3. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was the best deal in town.
Yeah, you can get for your friends in for under a Jackson, man. It was good.
Oh man, it was fantastic. Like Kevin, my roommate Kevin and I would go, or Jeff and I would go, and yeah, we would just get like $3 tickets. We'd pay $3 for a beer, and we'd get a dog. And for $10, we had 3 hours of entertainment, just sitting up in the top deck, talking to Dodger fans, listening to Ben. Man, it was a fantastic time. Now trying to get to a Dodger game, it's like man, you can't get out of there for under $75 a game.
And you can't get out of here there when it's over either. It's not a 3 hour
Yeah.
day, it's a 5 or 6 because you're
I never parked in the lot, so I would always just like walk down, and I always parked over by the academy, over by the because the police academy is right there.
Oh,
So I would just park. I would just park over there, and I would just walk out while everyone else was waiting. I would just walk 10 minutes, get out of the parking lot to my car. Boom, gone.
Boom.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
So the big thing for baseball this year is the new pitch clock. Have you seen that?
No, what is that? Tell me.
Okay, so they're trying to make the game faster, and so they introduced a pitch clock. If there are no runners on base, a pitcher must begin his windup within 15 seconds of receiving the ball back. If there are people on base, the pitcher has 20 seconds. A batter must be ready to receive a pitch from a pitcher with no less than 8 seconds left on that pitch clock. So it affects both sides. It affects the batters and the pitchers. And one thing that they didn't really realize when they were thinking about this, they thought it was going to affect pitchers more. No, it turns out that it's affecting batters more, because batters have sometimes like really unique post-bat routines that they go into to like get themselves ready to face that 98-mile-an-hour fastball. And it has caused some batters to forego their superstitious rituals, you know? Do you remember Dodger Nomar Garciaparra, one of my favorite Dodgers?
No,
He's a fantastic human being. Nomar, he was on the Red Sox, came over to the Dodgers. Nomar Garciaparra was always known for having a very, very long and complicated post or pre-batting routine. He would fiddle with his batting gloves 3 times. He would kick the dirt on both feet. He would take a couple practice swings. Then he would get into the batter's box and he would do it all over again. His pre-pitch routine was like 25 to 30 seconds every single pitch. So,
that's hilarious.
Stuff like that is not going to be allowed. But I guess it's working. The average time of opening day games yesterday was around 2 hours and 45 minutes. Last year, it was 3 hours and 1 minute. So they've already shaved off 15 minutes.
Is that what they're trying to do? Is that the reason for this new change?
Yeah, because games have gotten too long. Back in the day, 60s, 70s, baseball games were 2 hours, 2.5 hours max. When teams started investing more in pitching and making more pitching changes and lineup changes throughout a game, you know how like a manager will come out and like, I want the left-hander. You know, I want the left-hander to face off against this left-handed batter. Oh, we got it out. Great. I'm going to stop the game again. I'm going to bring in a right-hander now for this right-handed batter. When that stuff started happening in baseball, games started getting longer every season because, you know, you got to win every single game to try to make it to the playoffs. It's very competitive. So teams were using any kind of strategy that they could to get those wins, and that just made the game so much longer that they started losing fans, you know, and it was really hard it's been really hard for baseball to attract younger fans because they all say that the game takes too long and is too boring. So this is baseball's attempt to make the game quicker and more exciting to try to entice younger fans to come back and watch.
You gonna agree with it? Do you think it'll work?
I'm a baseball purist, so I'm not like the biggest fan of this change. But then again, I'm also not a fan of the DH. I think the DH is a stupid rule. But you know, like I said, they got to do something because they've been shedding fans and losing money every single year for a dozen years.
Right.
You know, they're not getting any kind of viewership on television anymore. They're definitely not getting radio listenership anymore. So they need to do something to change the game. The one shining factor for baseball that might help are a lot of parents these days are moving their kids out of football and back into baseball or soccer or basketball because those sports don't have head injury
potential
like football does.
All right.
So we'll see. But anyway, hopefully the Dodgers do well this year. I always like when the Dodgers win because the city gets real happy for about a month.
That's right. Go team and have a good weekend. We'll be back Monday. This is the Barry Funkhauser Show.